All right, Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Shakum like it was shy. That is to say, Yahweh being named Heavenly Father, who the world will call God, and Yahweh Shai being named His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. And it's a brother Casadia from W5 Jersey, Philly. And through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai, we're giving another Watchman alert, another World War III update. If you don't know this, yesterday on Friday, 3 Russian aircraft allegedly invaded Estonia's airspace, and this is becoming a big deal right now, right? So Estonia, if you don't know, they're part of NATO. You have these NATO members that's mounting up, and they're continually trying to ultimately declare Article 5, and they're doing so with taking the I guess prerequisite steps of Article 4, right? And we'll dive into what Article 4 means and why this is important. But not only Estonia, also moments later, you had Poland. They reported that 2 Russian fighter jets performed a low pass over their Petro-Baltic platform in the Baltic Sea, violating its security zone. So, again, tensions is rising. September 10th, you had Poland. They pretty much were the first ones. They actually declared Article 4, and they said, or they called for Article 4 at least, and they said that Russia invaded their aircraft, with using their drones, and Russia said this wasn't us. We didn't do this. So you got a lot of this back and forth, tit for tat, and it seems as if Russia's denying these things. We know they're the devil, right? They're Esau too. Just because we want them to destroy America does not mean that they're not also the devils, right? But nevertheless, you see that these Russians, they're pretty much pushing the envelope, seeing as far as they can go, right? Seeing what America's going to do, and ultimately trying to get NATO to splinter off. Because think about it: if Russia continues to push the envelope and America does nothing, while EU and the rest of these NATO members are calling for World War III, calling for war against Russia, but America doesn't really want to do it, then ultimately it's going to cause tension and cause a divide, right? And that's why you see accounts in the scriptures where the Lord speaks about the fall of the so-called, well, let's just get it. Let's not talk about it. Let's get it. I'm going to show you this in Obadiah, right? I'm going to show you this mighty account in the book of Obadiah. And it's the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, right? And I'm going to start at, see where I want to start. Let's see. Obadiah chapter 1, and I started 7, right? It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. Right, so to be confederate with somebody, meaning to be in a league with something. And I'm going to show you this. Covenant, allegiance, pledge between men, treaty, alliance, league, man to man. Alliance. So we see that there's an alliance that's taking place right now known as NATO. NATO has a good group of them together, right? Good group as in a great number of them. You got Canada, U.S., you got France, UK, Iceland, Spain, Italy, Poland, Romania, Turkey, Norway, Sweden, and Finland was also added. This map is in 2022. I believe they were added in 2024, last year. And you got Belarus, which is not a part of NATO. They're a Russian ally, but they're kind of caught in the crosshairs. But you have Ukraine, who is not a part of NATO, but they are damn near an extension of it. And you see that's the war that's taking place right now. So this is kind of the map that you could check out, and you can see the importance of why the EU really wants NATO in general to be able to declare this war against Russia, because again, they're right there caught in the crosshairs, as you see, right between right near Russia. So tensions are going to continue to rise. But anyway, the Lord said, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. So there's going to be a time when, for Esau, you're going to have these Edomites turn against each other, and bring each other to the border of war. Chiefly, America is going to be brought to this border against their will. And they're going to have to be positioned. Because let's say NATO declares Article 5. Let's say Poland declares Article 5. That will mean that all NATO members, whether they like it or not, they have to go to war. They have to. And I'm going to show you something that just took place just prior to me making this video. It says, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So let's check something out real quick. So like I was saying, this took place yesterday. These Estonian reports, them declaring, they actually did declare Article 4, or they're calling for Article 4, saying that Russia invaded their airspace. Again, September 10th, Poland did the same exact thing. So this is two accounts in just over a week of Article 4 being called upon by NATO to essentially, mount up and prepare for war against Russia. This was happening, and it's drawing a real hard line. In the sand, it's saying, Russia, if you cross this after us declaring this Article 4, guess what? It's time to go to war. We're going to declare Article 5. Now, what happened just an hour ago? It says the Pentagon informs European diplomats the U.S. will partially halt military assistance to Baltic nations. What's these Baltic nations? They're right here. These are these Baltic nations. Or even so much to so, you can even go up a little bit further. I mean, all of these would be so-called Baltic nations. Right? So NATO is saying, look, or it's like America saying, look, we're not giving you assistance anymore. We're done with that. Or we're going to partially halt, some of it. And ultimately, it's how they can kind of weasel themselves out of this, or so they think they could. It says in NATO states bordering Russia. See that? They're saying that the U.S. it was shifting to a homeland defense. To a homeland defense. Somebody's reporting right after Russia flew 3 MiG-31s into Estonia, attacked Poland, allegedly, with 23 long-range drones, and flew Shaheeds over Romania. Putin could not be happier. So, like I mentioned earlier, it seems like the plan of Russia is to continue to splinter this thing off. Since this is the official news compared to what we heard 2 weeks ago, now they officially informed the Baltics. Anyway, it was expected. The U.S. will increasingly prioritize its own continent and gradually disengage from almost everywhere else. This is what they're saying. This is what they're saying. We're going to see. Because again, we're reading this account, and the Lord is saying that the men that were confederate with them is going to bring them to the border. Now, whether they want to or not, the Lord is calling for this war. It's going to happen. This is Jeremiah 4:19. My bowels, I am pained at my very heart. My heart maketh a noise in me. I cannot hold my peace. Because thou hast heard, O my soul, this sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war. And we're hearing this alarm of war. Yeah, this took place, with our people being invaded by the Babylonians. But these scriptures are double-fold at times. And there is going to be a sound. There's a sound right now of the trumpets being blown. There's a sound of the war and the war drums beating continually in the earth. It says destruction upon destruction is cried. For the whole land is spoiled. Suddenly are my tents spoiled and my curtains in a moment. How long shall I see the standard and hear the sound of the trumpet? And we're going to hear this sound as it continually increase in the earth. This is Jeremiah chapter 8 and verse 15. We look for peace, but no good came. In for a time of health, and behold trouble. And that's ultimately what these Americans want, right? These everyday Americans, they want to live their life in vanity and glory and wealth. But guess what? No good is going to come upon his land. Every time Trump utters his mouth and says he wants to bring peace in the earth, it's more time, it's more of the evil that's been stirred up in this earth. Imagine that. Imagine the devil saying he wants peace. All this evil he's been pushing out on the earth, all the destruction the white man has caused, all the chaos he's done, and now he's saying he wants peace. Imagine that. There is no peace, the Lord said to the wicked. So this is a big deal, again, because we're seeing that these tensions are increasingly rising. Now, I want to show you real quick what Article 4 is all about. So this is from the NATO official website. All NATO decisions are made by consensus. After discussion and consultation among member countries, consultation between member states is therefore at the heart of NATO. Since allies are able to exchange views and information and discuss issues prior to reaching agreement and taking action. So they can talk behind scenes, say, look, if this happens, then guess what? We're going to say this is Article 4. Or if this happens, it's Article 5. So this gives way to false flags. Because for them to reach their agenda, they can say something happened just so they could be able to get to their end goal. Again, their agenda. Sitting at this round table. Right? Sitting at this round table discussing how they want to overthrow this world and bring this world into World War III. And he's a great number of men in this room right here, right? Right? Men and women, right? You don't think these Amalekites have their hands in their pockets, telling them what to do and press the button so they can ultimately continue to control the society and control this world? It says consultation is a key part of NATO's decision-making process since all decisions are made by consensus. So let's jump down, right? Let's jump down to this Article 4. Under Article 4, NATO's founding treaty, it says founding treaty, member countries can bring an issue to the attention of the the North Atlantic Council, often simply called the Council or the NAC, NATO's principal political decision-making body, and discuss it with allies. Any member country can formally invoke Article 4 of the North Atlantic Treaty. As soon as it is invoked, the issue is discussed and could potentially lead to some form of joint decision or action on behalf of the alliance. Whatever the scenario, fellow members sitting around the council table are encouraged to react to a situation brought to their attention by a member country. And these are the accounts of it taking place. Back in 2003, Turkey formally declared it. And what did it do? It allowed for defense assistance from NATO in the event of a threat to its population or territory resulting from armed conflict in neighboring Iraq. So they declared it, and now it allowed for the stage to be set for NATO to send out reinforcements. Turkey requested for it in 2012. They also did it twice in 2012, right? Poland invoked Article 4 following increasing tension in neighboring Ukraine as a result of Russia's aggressive actions. So you see the history of it taking place, and Poland did it again. This dynamic is again to set the stage for all-out war. It allows for them to be able to again set a hard line and say, look, if you violated this after we declare Article 4, then we're declaring Article 5, which is going to bring all member states into the battle, into the conflict. So this is not light news. And this definitely isn't light news, given that you're seeing America trying to weasel their way out of this thing. Most are willing, you continue to keep watch, because this thing is increasing week in and week out, day by day, hour after hour. We want to give all honor and all glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Keep watching these last days. But with that, Kwame Sharala.